Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So it's with a heavy heart that today we render a little glorification to my beloved God brother and friend, His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu, who has left us yesterday and has gone back to the spiritual world. So in glorification of this great soul, we would like to offer a little obituary to share some of the great qualities that this devotee had imbibed by the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. So I'd like to first start with offering my obeisances. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Te Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Partha Sarati Das Goswami Te Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Radha Giridhari Prabhu Iti Namine. So I didn't have the good fortune of meeting Radha Giridhari Prabhu a lot. I really only got to know him when he came on our first tour to India in 2017. But I've met him on the different occasions when we had namahatas and things like that while I was preaching in South Africa. And immediately I could see that this devotee is very attached to kirtan. And he would chant for hours on end without cessation. He had a great taste for the holy name. And not only that, his kirtans were really beautiful and melodious. But beyond just the external feature of the kirtan, he also was a very peaceful natured devotee, very caring and very concerned about preaching and very compassionate to others. He was actually a great preacher. He knew the philosophy very, very well. I heard once or twice I heard him speak, and I understood that this person has really read Prabhupada's books very deeply. And only recently I found out that he actually studied music just to perfect his kirtan, to get it even better than the standard that he had it at. So while I was reading, I came across this beautiful verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that I'd like to share with you today, so that we can imbibe the mood of death, and that we can understand what is the status of a devotee of Krishna. So it's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, text number 48, purport. Sri Prabhupada says, as a pure devotee, Maharaj Amrish, although in such danger, did not move an inch from his position, nor did he request the Supreme Personality of Godhead to give him protection. So this is a very exalted stage. So we're glorifying this stage, but at the same time, how did he get to this stage? There must be preliminary stages that he's also perfected to come to this level of consciousness, therefore making it practical for all of us. So how did he get to this level? Let's see. He was fixed in understanding, and it was certain that he was simply thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the core of his heart. This is the secret. Danger is going to come for everyone. Padam padam yadvit padam natesam. The scriptures say that every moment, every step there is danger. What to speak of only during a coronavirus. So this practice is what Amrish Maharaj is teaching us. He would just remember the Supreme Lord in the core of his heart. That's it. We don't know the degree of danger that is going to come upon us. And we won't know how to handle all of the situations. But we definitely can practice from now to get to the stage where he's just completely dependent on the Lord. So he goes on to say, a devotee is never fearful of his death. How did he get to the stage of never being fearful? Because he's been practicing remembering Krishna in the heart. Therefore, this idea of remembering Krishna, thinking of Krishna, is very strong in the Bhagavad Gita. It's the only verse that comes twice where Krishna is saying, Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Remember me, Arjun. Think about me, Arjun. So this comes twice. And Krishna to repeat something just in 700 verses means it's very, very important. So Prabhupada explains, how did he become fearless of death? For he meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead always. So he's been practicing within the heart to remember Krishna. Prabhupada goes on to say, not for any material profits, but as a duty. If something is a duty, then that means it has been practiced for a long time before it has become a perfection. So he's being repeatedly practicing to remember Krishna in the core of the heart. Prabhupada says here, the Lord, however, knows how to protect his devotee. You don't have to teach Krishna how to protect his devotee. That is his devotee. He knows how to do it and he knows what to do for his devotee. So Prabhupada goes on to say, as indicated by the words pragdishtam, the Lord knows everything. So in this verse, the word pragdishtam has come. And Prabhupada is saying, the Lord knows everything. He goes on to say, therefore, before anything happened, he had already arranged for his chakra to protect Maharaj Amrish. Just see. So Krishna had already made the arrangement for his devotee. Seeing and knowing the nature of his devotee, being fully dependent on him and thinking about him in the core of the heart, he has sent his chakra to protect Amrish Maharaj. So the lesson is that we should take shelter of Krishna by remembering him in the core of the heart. Prabhupada goes on to say, this protection is offered to a devotee even from the very beginning of his devotional service. Just see. We may ask the question, from when are we going to be protected by Krishna? When does Krishna protect his devotee? Prabhupada is saying from the very beginning. It's not only pure devotees. One may read this Leela and think only Amrish Maharaj, because he's a pure devotee, is protected. No, Prabhupada says here, from the very beginning of the devotional service. As soon as they've done some devotional service, they are protected. Just see Prabhupada goes on to say, Kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranasati. This is quoting from Bhagavad Gita 9.31. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvak shantim nigacchati. Kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranasati. Arjuna, you declare it boldly, my devotee never perishes. So Prabhupada is quoting this verse. He goes on to say, if one simply begins devotional service, just start doing devotional service to Krishna, Prabhupada says here, he is immediately protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada is saying that he is immediately protected if he starts devotional service. So the idea is for us to get free from this idea of fear of death, fear of what's going to happen, what has happened to my loved one. How do you get free from this idea of death, and how do you find peace? You can only do that if you know that Krishna is protecting you and you've done some devotional service. Because as soon as devotional service is done, Krishna's protection has already started. Just see Prabhupada, what he's saying here. So Prabhupada concludes by saying, the Lord is so kind and merciful that he gives the devotee proper guidance and all protection. proper guidance, tadadi buddhi yogam tam 10.10, Krishna says, I give the understanding by which you can come to me. And he removes all sinful reactions. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo, 1866. He takes away all the sinful reactions. So he's protecting. So he gives guidance and he protects the devotee. Both Krishna is doing. Prabhupada says, and thus the devotee very peacefully makes solid progress. See how to become peaceful in difficult times like this. Only if you know that Krishna is protecting you. And how do you ensure that? By praying to Krishna from the core of the heart. This is what Amrish Maharaj has done. Nothing spectacular. He just endeavored to remember Krishna in the core of the heart as a duty, just regularly, till it became a practice, until it became a perfection. Prabhupada goes on to say, in Krishna consciousness, without outward disturbances. So in this way, you won't be disturbed externally. In this way, you won't be disturbed externally and you won't be disturbed when death comes. Because you're always remembering and you're never forgetting Krishna. And you've done it as a practice. This is a very deep purport. So please try to read it on your own so that you may find some peace during this difficult time when we've lost a loved one. Radha Giridhari Prabhu was very sincere soul. I only really got to know Radha Giridhari Prabhu on the tour. And we would have some times when we could spend together and we would talk because of his music expertise. I would ask him and he would share. He shared with me that His Holiness Parthasarthi Das Goswami Maharaj had given him his personal harmonium to practice and to perfect kirtan. And that became his goal, sole goal in life. So whenever he had an opportunity to render kirtan, to help people, he would take advantage of that. A very compassionate soul, a very dear friend, and somebody who will be dearly missed by all of us. So in this difficult time, we can thank the Lord for giving us the association of a wonderful Vaishnava and allowing some of us to see his qualities, some of us to see his greatness. Krishna doesn't allow all of us to see the greatness of the devotee. He hides a lot of the devotee's greatness. And only for those who are qualified in some way or shown sincerity, he allows us a glimpse at the greatness of each and every Vaishnava. So if we live with that consciousness that everyone is special and we are a family under Krishna's protection, then this can develop peace in the heart, this can develop peace in life, and we won't be disturbed at the moment of death, which is inevitable for everyone. His Grace Radha Giridhari Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.